Hey everyone, I thought I'd do this real quickly, but you can see the title up there. It says NFL needs to change this overtime, this 15-minute overtime rule. It says right there, NFL, or it's going to say something that NFL needs to change the one overtime rule, the 15-minute overtime rule. I mean, honestly, it's not because my team, the 49ers, tied with St. Louis. It's not that. It's the same with anything. I mean, this is why people, although they enjoy the NFL, there's no doubt about it. This is why a lot of people like college football as well. This is why they like the bowl games, if you will. I like the college football games because you can essentially have multiple overtimes. I think the limit's maybe 3 or 4 or 5, I don't know, until you get a winner. But suddenly this year they decided to change things. Now I understand college football changed some rules too. I mean, with the whole you lose your helmet, you're out for one play rule. I get that. But honestly, folks, what's the point of playing a game if all you're going to give them is one overtime rule, only one overtime, and then if there's no score, just end it like that? I mean, I can understand I can understand sudden death overtime, but it's like instead of giving them multiple answers, instead it's like, okay, regular game, now you're in sudden death. And not just that, but it's like after a few plays in overtime, it gets down to the field goal line. Now I understand that too. And sometimes it has to result in a field goal to end the game. But if anything, they need to get rid of this one overtime rule deal, and go back to at least a certain limit. Give them more overtime. The limit should be maybe just go back to what made the game good. 3, maybe 2, 3, maybe make it 2 overtimes, if you will. 2 or 3 at the most. Because, let's face it, you go to a game, whether it's, let's say you go to a game, you go to San Francisco, let's say you're going to, Kansas City. Or let's say you're going to an Oakland Raiders game. And let's say Oakland's playing Kansas City. Alright? Kansas City's going to be coming down to Oakland anyway soon. But let's say they're playing them. Do you think with a rivalry that personal, with a rivalry that historic, that people are going to want to sit in those stands for 4 quarters and a possible overtime and that's it? No. That's a rivalry where people are going to want to see a winner. It's the same with St. Louis and San Francisco. When the Rams were the Los Angeles Rams, it didn't matter. It was a rivalry people wanted to see a winner in. And that's exactly the whole issue here. They need to stop. They need to change this, not stop, but they need to change this ruling. I mean, you don't pay I don't know how much tickets are, but you don't pay a price for a good seat at an NFL game just to be told, oh, by the way, after one overtime, that's it. And be told, oh, by the way, there's only going to be one overtime, and if they don't score, it ends in a tie. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, folks. But it has to change. It has to change. You know what I'm saying? It has to change, and it has to change now. Well, it has to change after the season. Because if you think this is going to probably be the only game this season that ends up in overtime, you're wrong. There's going to be several other games that are going to end in overtime. I mean, Baltimore, yeah, back in 2008, their game, I think against Tennessee or whoever it was, that ended in overtime. Yes, I get that. But that game, I think, if I remember right, went to a certain limit of overtimes before it ended. And that was it. I mean, if you're going to do it, if you're going to do the one, I mean, here's the thing. If you're going to do the one overtime deal and sort of make it like sudden death, then make it like sudden death. Make it like sudden death. Don't put a damn time limit. Alright? Don't do a damn time limit on anything, okay? Give them, instead of a time limit, say, okay, you both got, let's say, two opportunities. Two opportunities. And if you both can score a touchdown on the on your first opportunities, then the second opportunities are field goals only. That's what they should do. They shouldn't have a fucking time limit. Now, I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, Brian, that's exactly what they're doing now. Yeah, I understand that. But if you're going to do it as a sudden death deal, do it without the time limit. Just say, okay, you got 2-3 opportunities. And after a certain amount, if you can't score, like say on your first two opportunities, by a touchdown, then the third opportunity is a field goal. And then if that's not it, game over. Don't have a fucking time limit. I mean, if you're going to do it this way, don't have a time limit. But you shouldn't have to do it this way. You should give the fans more bang for the buck. And what you need to do is determine a winner. I mean, let's not forget what happened years ago, many years ago. Probably 7 years ago. When they had the Major League Baseball All-Star game in Milwaukee. What happened there? After a certain ruling of 15 innings, what happened? What happened? It ended in a tie. And the people were chanting, let them play. Let them play. And I'm sure there were fans chanting that here. That's why they came up with the ruling that they did for the playoffs and maybe even for the All-Star game. That despite what happens, despite weather, or despite a tie, you keep playing until you get a winner. The fact of the matter is, the NFL needs to change this rule. They need to add maybe one additional overtime. Make it a 2 overtime rule. And then you could probably do a tie. Or do a three overtime strike rule. 3 overtimes, and if you don't score in 3 overtimes, it ends in a tie. Do that. Instead of saying 1 overtime, that's it. 1 overtime, sudden death, 15 minutes. Instead of doing 1 15-minute overtime, sudden death rule, and that's it. I think that it would work out better. I think it would work out better for fans and for the NFL. I mean, don't you guys agree? I mean, I think it would fit better. I think it would work better. Because there's no doubt you've got fans right now that went home on Sunday from that Rams 49ers game, or fans at home in St. Louis watching it going like, this is BS. They need to continue it. It needs to continue. They need to let them play on. This rule's stupid. That's what they need to do. That's what they need to do, folks. So, give me your thoughts on it. What do you think? Do you think they need to change the rule? Because I do. Video responses are greatly welcome. Let me know down below, and I'll talk to you all later.